Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the channel. Quick technical update on AMC today. If you haven't already, go check out my Dogecoin video, the bull case for Dogecoin. I posted it earlier today at 12 o'clock. So check that out. Some interesting stuff going on there. But today's video for AMC is I have mixed emotions about what happened here. But I think, like, all right, so let me just cut to the chase. I mean, I tweeted this out. We'll just go to the 5-day chart, 5-minute. And even if you look at this section of the chart, here, the last 2 trading days are, and I was talking about, I think I talked about briefly in my video last night, how this, this price action is just the inverted version of this price action. So it's the same thing. You just have the peak on the opposite side. And I mean, when I say that there is this is not an edited video, okay? I'm not editing this to make this happen. There is a level of, I guess what I would say, it's a lack of creativity, perhaps. Because it's honestly just funny to look at these 2 trading days, okay? This is trading day 1, including pre-market. And then you just scroll right back, and this was the day before, the 23rd, the day before the holiday. So, yeah, I mean, I know that algorithms play a big part in the trading of all assets, but, like, for this to happen just side by side, and I never thought for a second that retail was in complete control of the price of any equity. But just to see this sort of price action side by side is, I suppose, it's just a little disturbing. And then, I mean, if you just flip this over, right? If we just, I mean, we just grab this here, and then I haven't even done this before, by the way. I'm just gonna kind of wing it, okay? So just bear with me. But if you just mirror and flip this, then you have very similar things happening on these charts very often. I mean, you can see that you have this peak here, right? You have this double top kind of thing, and then boom, a move up. And then this is like your consolidation afterwards. So essentially what's happening with this stock, it appears, is an absolute repetition of the same exact price action. And I know that we've talked about this over and over, but I don't think that I've seen it quite this blatant before. This is shocking. Yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. And then also, whenever I saw the chart from today, because I was doing other things. I'm not always just like staring at the AMC chart. He's a shill. He doesn't just stare at the AMC chart. I was kind of like, damn, like, how am I gonna make a video about this? Like, this, the chart is the same. It's the same chart. So I guess my thoughts going into tomorrow typically would be, I feel the same as I did yesterday. But I don't necessarily, because it is good that you have a higher low established here. If there's any positive element to take from this, let me put my volume onto the chart. I'm kind of, I guess, like, I don't know if I'm disappointed or I'm like surprised or like what my emotion exactly is surrounding this, but I'd say overall it's good that you have a higher low and also, look, a higher high. Wow. Thank you, algorithm, for I suppose creating a temporary channel of sorts. Oh man. Look, I mean, I don't think that retail trading can like create day-to-day price action. I think that retail trading can certainly create like a black swan sort of price action, like we've seen with AMC in the past. But man, I know I'm repeating myself here, but wow. Yeah, so I would say that here, oh, look at this. See this volume candle right here? You see this big green one here? Let's zoom in on this. Make sure it stays green. I guess we could just take a peek at OBV for the day, so let's do that. To see what the net on balance volume happened. Yeah, so you made a higher low in OBV. You're also making what appears to be, some sort of downtrend. So maybe you treat this as a, maybe a little bit more consolidation going into. Well, this is still December 27th, so going into post market today and then pre market on OBV, that makes sense. So then what would happen when we get to the other side of this? Well, I guess you would say, hey, maybe we can continue this uptrend in OBV. Generally speaking, what that's going to mean for the price is that you may see continuation to the upside. Like I said, you have a higher low and a higher high. So that is bullish by any stretch. Let's look at some EMAs maybe on the 1 minute, just so we can see if we get some more indication. I've been using these a little bit more lately. Just in my personal trading, I haven't really brought it to videos until yesterday. But basically, I make them all like relevant Fibonacci's. And so let's just look at these three for now. You can see. Oh, hold on. So the 8 EMA. Let me take post market off here. The 8 EMA is in red. To close, we kind of just slapped right back down to it. Maybe broke below it. Oh, we actually did break below it on the 1 minute, and we touched. Let me make this color a little bit more distinguishable for the purpose of the video. We went ahead and we touched the 21 EMA before we bounced back up. So I'd say overall, you have your 8 above your 21. You're going to want to see the 21. So you want to see, for bulls, you want to see a shift in the price here on the 1 minute chart. You're going to want to see the price start to do some of this. So that then your 8 EMA is going to cross over your 21 in yellow. Because that's generally just saying that bulls are in control whenever the 8 EMA is on top of the 21. In the short term, let's look at a higher time frame, the 5 minute chart. Yeah, see the red, you're going to want to see that red get this crossover. 5 minute, this does look a little, well, you do have good volume on this candle, but I'd say that it definitely looks like a shooting star sort of move. So I do think that you probably open to the downside. Maybe you just play out the same exact chart again. I mean, why change it? You might as well just keep doing the same thing over and over again, I guess, if you can. I'm just kidding. So yeah, you probably open red slightly. You're going to be looking for Fibonacci levels as well as forms of support. So let's see if we can find correlation there. Yeah, so this is your 382 as well, Fibonacci. So maybe you dip down to the 28. I mean, bulls look like they're losing a little bit of momentum towards the end here. So, but overall, I'd say that this is bullish. I mean, the price action today is bullish, but I mean, I'm not ready to say that we're mooning tomorrow just because, well, I mean, it literally did the same exact thing today that it did the previous day. So. Yeah, you're going to want to see it continue this uptrend. Maybe you slightly dip below. You hit this 0.5 Fibonacci that was left there at that 28.25 level, and then you start to see that climb. This is what you're going to want to see, right? And I know that yesterday we talked about how we were expecting perhaps a dip down to, dipping down into these $26 regions again. I guess you just tap the $27. Before you bounce back up. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I'm a little shaken up. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's a pretty frustrating day to be a guy like me that just sits here analyzes charts, picks apart like my, the way that I perceive the price action, and it is it is frustrating to see this level of I mean, I suppose you say manipulation, right? I don't like using that word too much because it's just thrown around so much, but it's just like it's just frustrating, man, because like this is, real people are in this. And I, this is part of why I started covering this stock, especially to the depth that, I mean, I never wanted to do this, to like post technical analysis on YouTube and stuff like that. I just kind of did it for myself, type of thing. But seeing what this community was going through, being in the play personally, and then just seeing like the sort of narratives that were spun around about this play, good or bad, and just the general direction of the community. Like I saw myself in a lot of people who were in this community, and so yeah, for me it I remember the buy button day. Like I remember that. And I know that people, I mean, I lost money on that, like not money, but like, value essentially on that. By the buy button being taken away. And it felt like, even though I'm not really a big fan of Dave Portnoy, especially when it comes to investing stuff, but I did relate to his message where he said, it's like they lost the game that they've been winning for decades, and as soon as they lost the game, played fairly to their standards, they turned around and they changed the rules. I mean, like I said, man, you see this sort of stuff, the repetition within this chart. You see it all the time, right? So this isn't anything new, but just this side by side, right next to each other. It's just kind of a frustrating moment for a guy like me. Just the way that I operate in the market. So trust me when I say, I mean, trust me, bro. Trust me when I say that, I'm fighting the same fight that you guys are for the most part. I don't necessarily subscribe to every narrative that is within this community, but I do think that there does have to be change to the market in the way that it's structured, because things like this, the big institutions, they just control too much of the liquidity. And I mean, I guess that at a certain point, I've talked about this before, it becomes a question of like where we stand, like on a political basis, right? Like like I believe in capitalism as the most pure form of like the most pure political system for the nature of humanity, right? The bartering systems and forms of exchange. But at a certain point, you start to have to say, are we a little late in the game here, where institutions have the ability to do something like this? And so and I don't want to get like overly political, but just thinking outside of the box, perhaps, in the long term, perhaps maybe one of the solutions could be like institutions have a limitation on their ability to hold or sell or a certain amount at certain times or something like that. Because yeah, and I don't want to get too far off the rails here, but it seems like that there should be a more natural aspect to this, and when you get the liquidity so heavily in the hands of people at the top, and you just kind of let them do whatever they want, and where they can influence politicians and they can do these sorts of things, and then the SEC is a private organization that has appointed officials that aren't voted on, like it's just kind of like, okay, what exactly, like if you're the little guy, what is the message? What is the message after these 2 days of trading? So I know you guys don't hear me talk about stuff like that too often, but I mean, I just don't have much to offer technically after something like this. Like, it's just tough. This is brutal, you know? I know that like we've had big sell-off days, and I don't come here and say, "Oh, this is brutal manipulation," everything like that. Look, selling off happens, right? And people always say, "Oh, retail owns 80% of the float." You know, oh, how is this possible? Or I've seen 90% being thrown around a lot. I haven't looked at the data personally, but um, you know, I've always responded to that, or at least thought to respond to that by saying, "Yeah, but you know, a consolidated." Right. So like if there's you know, obviously the total float is 100%. If retail owns 80% of it, and then AMC itself owns 5 to 10%, let's just say for example, and then there's an institution though that is actively trading and it has 2% of the float, a centralized 2% is much more carries much more weight than all of that 80% for retail on a day-to-day basis, right? The day-to-day price action is going to be able to be much more influenced by that 2%, because if I just come in and what's 2% of 500 million? Half of it would be 250. I'm bad at math, so hold on, I'm stupid. Give me a second. 2%. I know that you're sitting there, you genius with the math. You're a math whiz. I know you know the exact answer that I'm looking for, but you can't tell me because it's a pre-recorded video. It's 10 million, right? So if you have 10 million shares and you dump 10 million shares onto the market, at market open, right? So like, and obviously no one's doing that exactly, but if you see here, this volume candle right here is 336,000, right? This one is a million. And I've seen in 1.5 million. I've seen all the memes about, you know, lately that's been going around too. AMC's float has been traded like 70 times over or something like that. But you know, these institutions, if they sell, you know, 200,000 shares, retail cannot react in a coordinated way that's going to be effective to stop the sell off, right? Day traders, swing traders, investors that aren't apes, for example, et cetera, are gonna have their own emotions that is not tied to this buy and hold narrative, and they're gonna react, and they're gonna cause sell off, and maybe it's a very small portion, but the you know, the exchanges are just gonna say, oh well, will people buy it cheaper? Will people buy it cheaper? Will people buy it cheaper? That's just how it works, right? Because they're trying to fill orders. That's how they make their money on the spread of order filling. So I guess I'm saying all this to say that, you know, I'm still in the fight. Days like today are more frustrating than any other types of days, just because of just looking at that chart again, like we said before. But from a technical perspective, I would say that generally speaking, this is a more bullish move. Maybe you come back down and you test these trend lines down here, and you see that bounce come back up. Yeah, it's just hysterical. Like, this is a repeat, do this one, repeat, do this one. It's so yeah. I'm sorry if this video is frustrating to you as well. Hopefully it's like relatable, so it's not frustrating, but rather it's just like a relatable kind of thing, and it reminds us all that we're in this together. Believe me, I'm not going anywhere. But yeah, it's just it's something else, something to see. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. By the way, I want to shout out my guys in Kane Capital, the Kane Capital Discord. I've been following them for a while now. They were started by Dipka, Coach Dipka, which is at Not Guru Gruden on Twitter, and they have a bunch of traders in there. Stock Sniper, Mander Trades is on there, Dwayne Trade, Diamond Trades, which I just did a podcast with those two. Man, every day they give out free plays. If you're a part of the AMC buy and hold crowd, and you are looking to learn how to day trade more effectively, because that's not really what this channel is about, those guys are absolutely insane. Obviously, you need to be managing your own trades and stuff, but they have a lot of educational material, and they give away their plays every day in that Discord for free. So make sure you go check that out. I'll drop a link for it in the description of this video. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just go check that out, just because I think that, you know, I'm all about empowering retail in the market, you know, and one way you can do that is by having guys like that are successful in the market on a day-to-day basis, putting out their information and how they're doing it. And, you know, as apes, if the ape community can become more powerful, you can get more liquidity, you can buy the things that you see more value in, and then for the long term of that investment, it can mean more, right? Because there's more liquidity in general for apes, more money in the hands of retail versus the institutions, like we talked about before. So sorry if this video is too pessimistic. I'm not pessimistic, I'm optimistic, actually. I think that this is actually a good move for the chart. It's just a really, really strange one. But yeah, so, oh, by the way, I want to shout out, I know obviously a lot of you guys are probably following Rico's trade at this point, but also Colin just started his YouTube channel, so go check him out as well. He does a lot of cycle theory stuff. Both of these guys, I talk to these guys pretty much every day. Go follow them on Twitter, and then you'll be able to find their YouTube links or whatever. Make sure you go check them out, just because you know, they have a different perspective than I do. I almost always disagree with them because I'm looking at it from a more fundamentally technical standpoint. And they are really engulfed in the cycle side of AMC. I'm not really going to cover that too much because it's just not my thing. I'm much better at just pure technical analysis. But yeah, go check those guys out. And yeah, appreciate you guys for hanging out until the end of the video. I know I rambled a little bit here, like always, but my Discord, my Twitter are down in the description. And until next time, peace.